Okay, everybody, you know the great news already, right? The awesome news to kick things off. Got a brand new title sponsor. Let's hear it, guys.
GamersDreamland.com, your go-to spot for Magic the Gathering singles.
All right, that was all right. So, if you're building that brand new deck, turning your sideboard into something awesome, chasing down the one rare foil you've always wanted, or just browsing for inspiration, where do you go?
GamersDreamland.com has you covered.
Okay. Gold seller on TCG Player, which means one of the top rated sellers in the game. Fast shipping, trusted inventory, nothing sketchy, no mystery conditions, reliable, premium experience that takes the stress out of hunting for cards. Even better, guess what?
They're fans of the show.
So you know that it's a real partnership, and I'm pumped about it. If you go to, well, where are they supposed to go?
GamersDreamland.com.
Yep. You'll automatically get 10% off your order with no code, no signups. Click the link, fill your cart, discount kicks in. Okay. And if the thing is, if you go there, you're
Directly supporting the podcast.
huh. Okay, great. So just head to gamersdreamland.com.
GamersDreamland.com.
Yep. Uh, Gamers Dreamland, your online LGS and proud sponsor of the Magic the Gathering unofficial audiobooks podcast.
Have some fun and go to the site. You'll love it, Gamers Dreamland.
Chapter 8. Rebecca was at the Thran temple when the riots began. She and a crew worked in the northwest corner, building an open-sided spiral stair. Each crystalline step was shaped like a wide wedge of pie, with a bite out of the tip. The shimmering blocks were stacked and offset, forming a self-supporting tower of stairs with a hollow core. One side of the stair gave views into the gleaming sanctuary. The other opened over the abyss at the edge of the city. Folk not prepared for the dizzy climb could misstep and fall 1,500 feet. The ascent was an allegory. To attain the heavens, one must pursue the quest with courage, balance, diligence, and sobriety. Rebecca and her crew were setting a stone on the third turn of that lofty stair when they first noticed columns of smoke rising from the city. Someone, Jonas, go look off the eastern approach and tell us what's happening, Rebecca said. The young mason ran off on her bidding. The others continued laying steps. Jonas returned with startling news. It's an invasion. Somebody's attacking the city. They're everywhere. Bodies and blood. They're everywhere. What? Rebecca asked, brushing off hands as she descended. What? A war or something, Jonas said. A war? Something? The words seemed nonsense to Rebecca. Her head was swimming in tangent calculations. The ghost of buttresses not yet built rose in her mind, to converge around the stairway. War? What could he mean? Smoke, of course, but no army had ever marched across the desert to lay siege to Helsinki. Let's go see, Rebecca said. Let's call this a break and go see Jonas's war. Workers pulled sweaty gloves from their hands and tossed them down atop piles of rope. They joked about wars in Halcyon as they crossed the Power Stone Foundation, walking on glittering waves. Rebecca had warned them of the risks of phthisis, but no workers had quit. This building site made them feel like gods. The group neared the eastern approach. Smoke twisted into the air, sooty parodies of Rebecca's heavily ascent. Rooftops burned, fires spread, the streets were littered with the fallen. Dark figures darted between broken doorways. A tide of them rose even then to the 8th terrace and started spilling down the council boulevard. They smashed windows, slew citizens, and set fires as they went. A group of 10 Hellside guards rushed into the street and formed a line to hold them back. "Look," Rebecca said breathlessly. "Look, the guard is forming." The invaders crashed into the line of white soldiers and rolled over them. The wave continued on, reaching the broad stairs at the side of the council hall. Faces lifted, human faces ravaged by hunger, bleached by darkness, and marked with vices. "All right, they're coming," Beck noted. "Everybody find something. A mallet or a drill or a pry bar, something. We've got to keep them out of the temple. We'll have to jump from the pinnacle one at a time. Maybe 2 or 3, but no more. We'll knock them back. Get some of those support poles. Get all of them. Feed them to us, to me, and Jonas. We'll stand in front and knock down anyone who tries to jump over. If they get past us, you'll have to fight them. Understand?" There were nods all around. "Then go!" Pallid, wide-eyed, the builders scrambled for makeshift weapons. Courage to wield them. Rebecca, meanwhile, looked down where the fastest of the rebels began the spiraling ascent up the council hall dome. The second time the healers unbolted and threw back the infirmary door, they all were ready. Yawgmoth led, a sword raking out before him. Zod came behind, wielding a blade painted in blood. 3 other observers turned soldiers also carried swords and emerged, swinging them. Behind them were 16 more, armed with table legs and bed knobs and even poison-filled needle bladders. It was a motley assortment of weapons, but better than those the rebels wielded. Yawgmoth decapitated an attacker and said through gritted teeth, "After we put down the revolt, I'll ask the council for a store of real weapons." The observers nodded grimly. Table legs rose and fell, downing a pair of rebels. The group fought its way into the street. Behind them, Glacian's guards barred the door. Zod's blade tasted blood again. He rammed it into the belly of a gap-toothed untouchable. The blade tore through emaciated guts and out the man's back. He toppled up to the cobbles. Zod yanked on his sword to free it. The wound sucked against it, planted a foot on the corpse's side, and hauled hard. The sword came loose. Zod took a moment to wipe the septic gore from it. A ragged swarm of untouchables flooded up around the group. 3 observers died in that onslaught, staved head, a knife in the eye, and gushing throat. The others fought all the more fiercely. Table legs chopped cleanly down and came up mantled and red. Metal rods rang bell-like against skulls. Healers leaped beneath tangled weapons to inject poison. All was yelling and thrashing in blood. Then the last of their attackers lay dead on the ground. Yawgmoth and his remaining core of 15 moved on. "Where are we headed?" Zod asked. Yawgmoth nodded toward the half-built temple gleaming above. "Up. We're headed up." He killed 2 more while he took a breath. "That's where Gix will be." "Gix?" "He's the one who sparked the revolt," Yawgmoth replied. "He can end it." "But will he end it?" Yawgmoth patted the interior breast pocket of his cloak. "He will, when I inject him with this cure." "5 minutes ago, Rebecca had never killed anything more than a mosquito. Now she had killed 10 men, 8 women, and 3 boys. The first was the worst. A boy no more than 13. He reached the pinnacle before anyone else because of fast feet and a young heart. "Get back!" Rebecca shouted. "If you jump, we'll block you. We'll kill you." He flung himself across that yawning gap. He did not hesitate. Rebecca did. Jonas too. Their poles swung numbly out to bar the way. Ducking, the untouchable scrambled beneath them, drove a knife into the throat of one of the workers. The next moment was a blur. Beck saw someone grab the boy's ragged shirt, yank him to the edge, and throw him down and crash brokenly atop the dome. Only then did she realize that she was the one who had done it. She'd killed a boy. Yes, but he had killed one of her workers, given her no choice. When Rebecca lifted her pole again, it felt slick in her grasp. The workman's blood covered her hands, so deep the lines and calluses. She grimly wiped the blood on her white work tunic and grasped the other end of the pole. "It's my fault. If I hadn't hesitated, here comes another one," Jonas shouted. As a young woman, she might have been pretty had she lived in Halcyon. Caves of the Dam had turned her skin into a shroud and her body into a skeleton. The woman's eyes were so wide as to seem lidless. She jumped a pale lizard in air. Rebecca swung her pole, struck the side of the woman's face, and knocked her back. The rebel landed half on the platform and clawed blindly to pull herself up. Gritting her teeth, Rebecca rammed the bloody tip of her pole again into the woman's face. She went limp and slid free. Even the sound-dampening temple did not mask the wet thud of her impact. "Damn it! Damn it!" Rebecca shrieked. "You're gonna have to kill some of them too, you know, Jonas. Damn it, you've got to pull too." White-faced, he killed the next one, and Rebecca the next three, and he another. No longer did the rebels fall with the sound of bone on stone, but now with the flap of meat shoveled atop meat. It was grim work, made none the easier by exhortations from the builders behind them. One part encouragement, one part expiation, one part consolation, the shouts tore at Rebecca. "Stop this one! Nice hit! That was a hard one! He had a knife! You warned him! He gave you no choice!" 10 men, 8 women, 3 boys, and 1 workman. In her hesitation, Rebecca had killed him, just as surely as she'd killed the others. Blood, his corpse was projected in rainbow rays throughout the city below. "Damn it!" Rebecca shouted. It had taken months for Yawgmoth to turn his observers into healers. It took only moments to turn healers into killers. To his left, a woman bashed Brain with a table leg. To his right, a man tripped Phyrexia and jabbed them with poison. Behind lay a wake of headless bodies. Before, Zod hurled heads into mobs of untouchables. Zod, he had vomited at his first glimpse of battle. Now nausea was forgotten. Regret was gone. No time for fear, it was only killing. Enraged untouchables rushed Zod, just the reaction he'd hoped for. Zod strode to meet them, sword chopped into a man's chest. Caught in ribs, gradual kill, Zod hurled the flailing man sideways to crash into a woman. Both struck the ground. Wrenching his sword free, Zod strode across their backs to his next kills. Some fell bloodlessly, others fought on, though they bowed. It was really quite interesting. It's as much science to slaying as to healing. Rigorous science, practical, fun. Zod had no shortage of subjects. He and the band were surrounded by Phyrexia. Each died differently. New to this one, Yawgmoth thought, becomes something even more deadly. Though Zod was having fun, this fight brought Yawgmoth no closer to the Thran temple. That's where the real battle began. He glimpsed an untended sedan chair. Whistling over his shoulder, he signaled Zod to his side. As eager as a dog called to the hunt, Zod bounded toward him. "I knew I would find you here. The best way to get back at the 2 men I most hate is to kill you." "Gix!" Rebecca gasped, staring dumbfounded at the man. The Thittic rebel stood at the pinnacle of the council hall dome, just beyond the reach of Rebecca's staff. "Glacian said you'd threaten this, but no one believed." "Bastard though he is, your husband's the only one who sees the truth," Gix said. "Except for me." He jumped toward the temple. Rebecca was slow with her pole. Jonas flung his out. Gix was expecting it. He had watched the others fall. He had learned Rebecca's strategy. Ducking his head to one side, Gix grabbed the pole and pulled himself up to land on the temple threshold. Jonas let go of the pole to avoid being pulled over the edge. Too late. Gix had solid footing. He whirled, bashing Rebecca's staff and smashing her fingers. She dropped the weapon. Spinning, Gix struck Jonas in the back. The young man arched and howled. Gix hit him again. Setting his feet, he flung the young man from the temple. Jonas fell as the untouchables had fallen. He died as they had died. The workers surged in, but Gix was too quick. He knocked one man unconscious, stole the feet from a woman, and drove the others back with quick jabs of the staff. He was quick in other ways, too. Behind him, untouchables lowered a stout wooden door across the gap between pinnacle and temple. They flooded up their makeshift bridge. Rebecca had no pole to fling away the door, and Gix struck her thrice with Jonas's staff. She She retreated among the others. Across the bridge they came. 3, 7, 11, 18, more than they had killed so far. In mere moments, the rebels equaled the workers. In moments more, they outnumbered them 2 to 1. They kept coming. Gix advanced at their head. He wore a devilish grin. Rebecca and her host didn't get that far. There was nowhere to go. Untouchables surrounded them. Their ragged figures gleamed in the crystals all around. Above his toothy smile, Gix's eyes were almost sad. His voice had the quiet tension of a winding spring. I know what you're trying to do, Rebecca. Everyone knows. You're rising by climbing across our bodies. Your husband's mana rig kills us. Your temple kills even your own people. Do you care? Do you stop? Do you dismantle the horrors you've made or only build them taller? Yawgmoth is working on a cure, Rebecca protested. She swung a heavy pulley in one hand, warning him back. The device would do little good against a staff with an 8-foot reach. A cure not just for my husband, for all people, your people as well. Yawgmoth can't find a cure. Even if he did, he wouldn't give it to us. I would, and I will, came a voice above. A shadow blotted out the sun. Every head there tilted back. Every eye squinted to see who it was that spoke. A figure descended in a drifting sedan chair. He seemed robed in radiance. None could have known who it was, except Rebecca and Gix. I have a treatment. Perhaps a cure, came Yawgmoth's reply. I have 1 dose here with me. Already Glacian's skin improves. His suffering eases. Gix dropped his eyes from the blinding presence. Lies! Lies! Why would you bring me a cure in the middle of a rebellion I started? To end it, Yawgmoth said simply. To ransom the life of this lady and the life of this city. We'll give this treatment to you and we'll promise to descend to the caves and bring enough to treat everyone there in a week's time. You will stop this riot if you and your people withdraw from the city. Rebecca could see the flush of Gix's pale face. The young man wanted to believe. He wanted to be cured and have his people cured, yet he knew better than trust this foe. It's poison! You bring me, not a cure! It isn't poison, came another voice from the sedan chair. I was with him when he invented it. I saw it cure an untouchable. I saw it help Glacian. Show me this cured man, Gix challenged. Let me talk to him. He's down below, Yawgmoth said. I have no such time to search through rioters to find one man. He isn't down below. There's no such man, Gix said. Now leave, or I'll kill Rebecca while you watch. Yawgmoth's shout was immediate. No! I'll come down among you, and I will inject myself with half the mixture. And when you see that I do not die or fall unconscious, you'll know this is no trick. When I inject the rest in you, you'll know it's a cure. Gix's eyes hardened in distrust. Rebecca said, You told Glacian that your people would rebel because they had nothing to lose. They were doomed to die. Now they have everything to lose. Listen to Yawgmoth. Test his cure. Let it heal you and your people and our city. The blush that limned Gix's jowls told the hope he feared to feel. Come down, Yawgmoth. Show me this is not poison and prove it is a cure and swear to me you'll provide enough for us all. Now we'll take my people of Halcyon. A large figure loomed suddenly out of the sedan chair. Without warning, Yawgmoth dropped among them. His eyes were sun bright as he regarded Gix. Rolling back the collar of his cloak, Yawgmoth found his own jugular vein. With slow precision, he inserted the needle and squeezed. Gix could visibly make out the progress of liquid in the distended vein. Yawgmoth's fists tightened on the bladder. When it was half collapsed, he drew the needle from his neck. A small line of blood emerged from the puncture, wound its way down his tanned skin, pooled in the crook of his collarbone. There. You see, it's not poison or a sedative, Yawgmoth said levelly. And for me, it is not a cure. I'm not ravaged as you are. Yawgmoth stepped forward, a bloody needle jutting in his hand. Don't call me friend, Gix warned. This is a trick. People will tear you and Rebecca and this whole city to shreds. Not responding, Yawgmoth reached for Gix's neck. The man shied only a moment. Yawgmoth found the jugular, set the hollow needle, and pushed it gently in. Serum flowed into Gix. Yawgmoth's fist clenched tightly around the bladder. He emptied the chamber and pulled the needle out. Blood flowed gently from the puncture. Gix's brow furrowed. He glared at the lesions on his arm. That's it? That's all? Only a half a dose, Yawgmoth said. Touchables began to growl. hands tightened on weapons. It takes a moment. Wait! Look! Gix shouted. He gazed at his arm. Black lesions receded. Pink scar tissue filled in the gaps. He looked at his other arm. The same process took place. The sores shrank on his chest, his leg, his face. It wasn't alive! It is a cure! Treatment, Yugmoth said. A temporary cure. But injections of this can keep you healthy, you and your people, until we can find a permanent cure. How long will this last? Gix asked. We don't know. A week, perhaps? Yugmoth guessed. Maybe less. It was only half a dose. Gix stared into his eyes. Joy was tempered by hatred. You have a week. We will withdraw and leave you for that week, but then you better appear with injections for all of us. Yes, that is the agreement, Yugmoth said. You have a week.